So this album is pretty much well sought after, a delicacy. Maybe am referring to myself when I say it's sought after, but looking in the comments and seeing all these references to previous albums, I don't think there's much similarity in the other albums at all. I mentioned this, I actually expressed this myself. Didn't get any response, but there certainly is a lot of philosophical connotations to that, possibly. Hey, it's a fucking album review though. Let's fucking do this shit. And so anyway, the album literally has much sought after by me, seeing as how that last album wasn't an album, it was a live album with their little philosophical input. And so there it will be, some jibber jabber. There will be some, maybe just a couple minutes of this off the top of my dome stuff, but that's just because I'm loving this album. I literally will give it a fucking solid 9 out of 10. It's just that, it's missing a few. It's missing nothing at all, and maybe that's what it is. There is one song on there I don't like. It will, possibly be one of those things that it will grow into two. It'll grow into two things that I don't like. And then when there are that many, when there are two, where there are two, there are many, and where there are many, well, I'm starting to say that they would cease to be. And let's not talk bad about them. But one thing for my ethos, I'm totally uncensored and unscripted. So with this album, I'm gonna say, I'm really stoked about doing this. So let's go. Let's get into it. Alright, so my scripted content that I'm providing for you is as such. I'm going to go track by track, and starting off with number 1. And that is To Live Deliciously. Obviously, I, like many, caught in the swarm and the whirlwind of this masterpiece. Just completely overlooked it for a second there. I was like, To Live Deliciously, okay. Right now everybody's zombies, something like that. I don't know, whatever other little persnickety things that I could say, but it's blasphemy. Now, I'm just literally gonna give you a heads up before I get into the final paragraph of this. It's each track in one simple, concise summary that I wrote. Literally, I would appreciate your feedback, and if you haven't already, subscribe, smash that like button, and hit the bell for future notifications. Here we go. To Live Deliciously, track number 1. Modern style breakdowns, catchy chorus, and a deliciously different octave range higher. I thought that was, the point between the comments. I'm going to do side banter in between each one. This is why I like to, number one, I like to be uncensored. That's why I like to add in whatever stuff that I want. That's why I like to relish in the excess background noise that you're hearing. You should know they deserve the shout out just as much as anybody else jumping in any threads or forums. But let's not forget who's the guest of honor. And that is, of course, I haven't actually said it myself, announced it, but maybe that's my own little nosh, if you will. So here we go. Modern style breakdowns. I'm going to get into that. So modern style breakdowns, what I mean is that grindcore stuff. I'm not comparing it to, you can't. It's just modern style breakdowns, and that there's a bit gent in there, gent-ish. It's like, anything that these guys do. Oh, please. It's Cradle of Filth, and their recent musical excretion. The screaming of the Valkyries. Don't make the same mistake. See, it's uncensored, but if it was, I'd censor that out. Anyway, modern style breakdowns, like, they don't sound like anybody. They don't sound like they're influenced by anybody. They probably would fail to mention if there was. There's no need for that either. It's completely unnecessary, highly unnecessary. But I am digressing immediately right off the bat. So here we go. Modern style breakdowns. There's a bit gent. There's a bit intervals, spaces in between there. And I'm speaking from the context of a little bit of, I have a little bit of knowledge of music theory, and that would be the definition of an interval. Obviously, obviously, anything that's like from any of these guys, that's all going to be a combination of consonant and dissonant intervals. But specifically on this opening track, I mean, there's really like, it just gave me that modern feel. I'd love to just leave it at that and just say it just gave me that modern feel. But maybe I'm more of a fanatic than I thought. I don't know. Moving on to Catchy Chorus. I mean, that's the catchiest one. It's also a single and one of the first music videos released for this album. So they have like that catchiness to it. And it has certainly like it has certainly served its purpose for the opening track and a deliciously different octave range. When I say it's higher, let me get into that spiel I was getting to a second ago, what I was trying to say about that comment section being loaded full of reminiscent of Thornography, reminiscent of Midian. Those are the two main albums everybody keeps saying it's reminiscent of. And I just don't appreciate it. If and when I ever interview Danny Filth, I'll ask him, what do you think about all these people? Whatever. We'll get to that. I swear I probably have been not even sent an invite. I don't know. Anyway, enjoy that little background noise serving as an interlude as we wrap up track number 1. It's just a higher octave range. It sure is reminiscent, but maybe I'm being a bit of an asshole. It's just a higher octave range. It's higher than where a real fanatic or a real expert on this band and the mythos therein is going to be able to do a better job than I. As much of a fanatic as I am, I'm not going to break it down into some sort of science. Track number 2, Demagoguery. classical scales, big time classical scales. I mean, you just get that riff of it's just up there. I mean, I jam out to this, and when I jam out to this, I get like very very my personal style, my personal way of analyzing, playing these songs from this band. So I couldn't tell you at this point what fret, but I will say this: everything is always drop C tuning for these guys, or double drop C. So if you want classical scales, time signatures, the usual time signatures: 8/16, 16/16, 8/8. These are not 4/4 time signatures. Expert alert. Fast tempo shifts. Obviously, that's what this is. That's what these fine young gentlemen are capitalizing on. Their fast tempo shifts are all over the place, literally. So that's Demagoguery. I mean, I just want to get into those classical scales, time signatures, a bunch, but it's just what I said. Classical gives you that classical feel with the scales. Letting you know exactly which one. Those are for other creators, not me. Trinity of Shadows, track number 3. Reminiscent of Existence is Futile and Approach. So there you have it, folks. I just could have mistakenly been talking shit about people saying that it's reminiscent about something. But, and this is a big, huge but, there's in the approach that I referred to, there's an addition. It's in the approach that I'm referring to, that I'm speaking on concepts, I'm speaking on themes, I'm speaking on a specific track that it reminds me of, being Sisters of the Mist and Trinity of Shadows, Sisters of the Mist. You could do, if you're a fanatic, or if you're a fanatic and not an expert, or you're a fanatic and an expert, either way, it's fun for the whole family. You can make a playlist, for example, maybe, and then you know what you could do then? Add Trinity of Shadows right next to Sisters of the Mist and Unleash the Hellion. So henceforth, that's why I have stated this factoid for you, that it is reminiscent of 2 albums ago. Moving on now. I had to pause for effect. Number 4, my personal fave right now. I'm bouncing in between this one and the closing track. When I say Non Ominous Moriar, it's classic Stoker-esque Romanticism. Classic. Oops, my pausing for effect has seeped into this. You can't edit some stuff out. Classic Stoker-esque Romanticism. Can't edit some stuff out. You just have to redo some stuff. Classic Stoker-esque Romanticism. I'll say it one more time for emphasis. Actually, fuck that! Non Ominous Moriar, my second, or right now my first favorite, but it's bounced in between my first and second favorite of this album. White Hellebore is number next up in number 5, and I'm just going to start off by saying I am dumbfounded, shocked, baffled, flabbergasted, and in fact, no drum roll, but imagine there's a... Okay, nice, excellent, extended play, drum roll. Bamboozled that this track would be literally the same title as, well, never mind. Anyway, if you know, you know. what I wrote for this one is sharper tone than the one used lately. The sharper guitar tone is clear in this one, sticks out in the album, sticks out for the band. I mean, that's what I think that is, before we get to as we reach the halfway point here, before we get to crossing over the halfway point here, let's just state here, this album's goal obviously was technicality and focusing on being technical. They were extremely technical. Maybe it's just me in my mind, I don't know. I'm noticing it in other artists as well, but I'm a lifetime fan of this band, so I know as a fucking die-hard Cradle of Filth fan, I know that there is a little bit of accuracy and truth into what I'm saying, that there is a lot of technicality and focusing on each track being kind of specific. The more I say, the less sense it's going to make, so let me get to the point here. There's specific styles in each one, and this White Hellebore has a sharper guitar tone than all the rest. Now, the other thing too about this is and this is for guitar nerds, guys. It's got that like those strumming methods right now. I'm not going to try to go too fast for you, just in case you might be a beginner intermediate guitarist. But those strumming methods, certainly you need hybrid picking. Google it if you don't know what it is, or if you don't already know what it is, or if you want to talk about hybrid picking. Let's talk about some hybrid picking. There's a lot of really sharp tones in the guitar on this track. There's a lot of... You got to have your chops up on the hybrid picking really fast on this one. I myself personally had a grand old time playing this track. And all I gotta say left about this is just, it's go listen to my song Hellebore. In fact, I'll probably add it on like some future episode. I don't know. Is that even worth saying? I don't know. Maybe not. That's one of those things about that liminal space in between halfway points here. We're on track number 6 now, and that is what I would like to open up the fucking track. That's what I fucking opened up this with. That's what I opened this up with. I opened it up with this, and that is because it is not necessarily one of my favorite ones. I will say it's just not. It's just not one of my favorite ones. But I opened up with this. And there's Micro, Tremolo, and Zoe is what I'm going to comment on. So let me do that normal halfway point thing and take a siesta. Okay, siesta concluded. I hope you guys enjoyed that, because there's really a whole lot of what, who, where, and why to indulge in here. But like I said, it's scripted, okay? So I wrote it down, and there's there's your reveal, there's your exposure, my exposure rather. All this talk about AI is all over the internet. Talking about AI, what's my place in it? What's my comment in it? You're gonna have to go and click on that video thumbnail right there. You see that thumbnail? Click on that. The link is in the description. Click on that after this video and watch that video. Here we have Malignant Perfection after You Are My Nautilus, and as that track let me just speak on the confusion about this, because there is a lot of confusion, and that's why I want to make this quite a worthwhile review, because this is going to take a, you know, maybe a little less time than expected, but it certainly will take up all the, excuse me, the dense energy of the episode of this review is right here, baby, right here. Malignant Perfection, the single that was released as I viewed the album art, and I thought to myself, hey, you know, this, what, you know, like the picture for that single, the picture artwork for that single was kind of just had me like, huh? And it literally took me like, I don't know, 1 week or 2 weeks, and I just go, it's a single, and the album is actually called this. And so I go, okay, so what's up with the confusion? He did that on purpose. Is likely the likely case scenario. Anyhow, that's Zoe's Limelight right there for sure. She has her spot in the sun. Her place in the sun is on that track, and it's just accompanied beautifully with the highlight of that song of Danny and his thing. But you already know that. So all I want to do is talk about that. Just to recap on that here. The confusion was, I thought that was the album, and it was actually the single. The throne of Zoe is that track. That's her throne. Speaking of thrones, the lyrics contain that word, thrones. Anyway, number 8. It's so funny I had to be there. Anyways, 8 is we're unfortunately drawing into a close. Unfortunately, drawing into the end, guys. But you can't, absolutely cannot have Cradle of Filth without Dracula. No way, not possible. So and an album this luxurious, closing off with Ex Sanguine Draculae, was a mighty fine choice in my opinion. And it says here on my script, catchiest guitar riff on the whole album. Catchiest guitar riff on the whole album for sure. However, I will say this. This album, as we draw to When Misery Was a Stranger, I'm just going to get that over with instantly. Best, most epic, and the song with the most depth. So anyway, like I was saying, this whole album, I think, is just configured in such a way where each of the tracks are just made to be so ambiguous that they can jump around on you. Those 2 tracks that are my favorite, alternating between each other, the catchiness of To Live Deliciously and Ex Sanguine Draculae have alternated, and now, as of late, Demagoguery is the one stuck in my nugget. Anyway, that's track by track breakdown. For quick reminder, the screaming of the Valkyries. Here is my closing notes. I wrote the transcript for this review in order of what kind of voyage this album took you along through. As in the thing I noticed I wrote down in contrast to listening in order. This is simply me telling you that I fucking did this I did this me share. Sorry for the pause there. I did this for like me sharing what kind of adventure this album takes me on. Maybe I'm trying to save myself from the work of making these ghastly YouTube shorts and these infernal TikToks. Anyhow, obviously later when I listen to the album on shuffle, I'll have some new takes on that. But that's a lot of extra work. But that's what I can use you, my viewers, for, to have the conversation in the comments. Packs a punch is how I would sum up this album. The first album, this is the first album without symphonic interludes, if anybody's noticed. Now this is the big secret between fans. Have you noticed this? Because even Existence is Futile started off with something symphonic and then went into existential terror, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not going to Google it right now. I'm not even going to do that much work. Anyways, the sound is sharper in this album, more modernized, and the lyrics and vocals, they seem more complex and improving, as with the art set on an all black background. It's just improving and getting better and better. I see reoccurring similarities between Danny's lyrics and mine, but it's not discouraging. And rather than go off on a tangent, here's my rating. Well, I'm pretty sure I already said 9 out of 10, but I'll say it again. 9 out of 10 stars. They literally are going to be, I'm just telling you right now, they are literally going to be making a better album than this, and it's still going to be 9 out of 10. So maybe what I'm trying to say here is I don't like doing this or something like that. And if I don't like doing it, then why am I doing it? Blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. I don't know. Tell me in the comments. Tell me yourself in the comments. So 9 out of 10. I wanted to say, actually, I changed my mind. It's 8 out of 10 because I wanted to say 8 out of 10 the first time, so I'll go with what I wanted to say the first time. Just like this band has been technically my favorite band. This was technically my first favorite band, but not really. I won't get into that. Anyway, yeah, I made a little comment there about something about the similarities between my music and his, my lyrics and his. And then I want you to challenge me on that because, hey, what else am I noticing this for and saying something about something I'm noticing it for? I definitely ain't going to be, noticing something as strange, of a synchronicity as that and not saying much. But anyway, that's the album for you guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. I'm going to flip out when I hear some cool comments about this. I'm really gonna flip out when I hear somebody saying something bad, because I kind of I say this all the time. I truly kind of need some bad feedback from time to time, and the positivity of that is going to be that, hey, I'm going to share that with the artist at some point. I'm going to be like, hey, check this out. This dude says you're blah 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 or whatever, and we need that. We need that in this community. Fuck. Shit, I'm fucking out of here. I'm already gonna, I'm already itching to fucking grab my coffin, and I gotta go, guys. It's solid fucking solid fucking hackisode of extreme fucking torture and brutality. What a question that I have for you though on the way out. What do you guys do when you listen to this band? What are your activities when you were listening to this album? Let me know in the comments that as well. So you got some stuff to do. But for now, I am going to dissolve into the darkness. World is doomed.